Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Precious. Right, so this is a continuation of our lesson on the equation of straight lines, and this is just for solving of the examples. Now remember, we talked about the importance of the gradient of a line, the intercept on y, that's the y-intercept, which we call C actually, and then we have the x-intercept, which you can call xc if you want. Okay, so now I only showed us how to get the y-intercept, which is from this formula. So your C here stands for your y-intercept, and that's actually gotten by making your y to be equal to, your x to be equal to 0. You can see here, if I make my x 0, remember you have yx plus c. If I make my x 0, everything here will turn to 0. So my y is equal to c. So the value of your y when your x is 0, that means if you come to this graph, you see at the origin your x is 0. So if you take it up, whatever is your y, that is your value of your y-intercept. You can see it's cutting the y at that particular point, and that's why we say C is our y-intercept. So to get your x-intercept, in case you want to, all you need to do is to make your y to be 0. If you also make your y 0, wherever the graph cuts the x-axis at that point is also the x-intercept. For example, something like this. If you trace this to the y-axis, your y will be 0 at that point. So if I make my y 0 in this formula, that means I'm going to have 0 is equal to mx plus c. So to make my x the subject now, I'll take c to this side. That's minus c is equal to mx. Divide both sides by m. Therefore, my x-intercept is actually minus c all over m. And so if you check this example 1 now, it means that my x-intercept is going to be minus my c there, which is the y-intercept, is 4 all over my slope, which is 2. And that's going to give me negative 2. But of course, this is not what we are asked to do here, but it's just to show you that in case you need your x-intercept, you can actually get it from the equation by making your y to be 0. All right, so quickly, let's now look at the example solution. We are asked to find the equation of a straight line for the first one when our slope is 2 and our y-intercept is 4. Okay, so let's quickly look at that using the formula y equal to mx plus c. So it means that my y is going to be equal to my slope is 2, so I'll have 2x plus my intercept, which is 4. So I can actually leave it in this form or take it to the general form, which is going to give me y, that's taking everything to the left-hand side, and that's y minus 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. So either of the two can actually be the required solution. And then straight away to example 2, we are given an equation which is in general form, and we are asked to get the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept. You see what I just tried to explain now. And so let's begin. So the equation for A, you start with the equation. We are given that 3y minus 12x plus 3 is equal to 0. So to get your slope, all you need to do is to put the equation in this form, and whatever is the coefficient of x is your slope. That's your m. Okay, so if I make y the subject, whatever is the coefficient of x becomes my m. So that means I'm going to have 3y is equal to 12x coming here will be, minus 12x coming here will become 12x, then minus 3. So I'll divide through now by the coefficient of y, which is 3. So if I divide everything by 3 here, I am going to get that my y alone is equal to 4x minus 1. Okay, and immediately everything you want shows up. So it means that our slope in this equation is actually what? 4. And from here we can already get the value for b. And what is our b? Our b is the y-intercept, which is c, is actually equal to what? Minus 1, which is this. Okay, and finally we can get our c, which is the x-intercept. Remember I said the x-intercept, to get that, just make your y to be 0. If you can't remember that formula where I got my x-intercept as minus c all over m, all you need to do is just make your y to be 0. So if I make y to be 0 here, I'm going to have that 0 is equal to 4x minus 1. Taking this to this side, I'll have 1 is equal to 4x. Therefore, my x-intercept is actually equal to 1 over 4. But in case you remember this formula, all you would need to do is just to substitute. You have minus, what is your c? Your c is minus 1 all over, what is your slope? Your slope is 4. And that will also give you 1 all over 4. All right, and that is the solution to this problem. So we go to the next slide, which is an example on point slope. So that means you are given a point and a slope of a particular line, and you are asked to find the equation of the line. So what do? Write your formula, which says that y is equal to y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. And what is this x1? X1 is the x-coordinate of the point you're given. So in this case, my x1 is equal to minus 2, and my y1 is equal to what? 1. Okay, so I'm going to substitute now. If I do that, I will have that y minus my y1, which is 1, is equal to the slope. My slope is minus 3, is given here. And that is into the bracket of x minus, my x1 is minus 2, right? So if I now simplify this equation, I have that negative 3, this is going to change to plus, so I'll have x plus 2. And what do I get now? Y minus 1 is equal to, opening this bracket, you have minus 3x minus 6. Yeah, now remember, you can leave this equation in this form where you make y the subject, or in the general form. So if I leave it in the general form, that means I'm taking everything to the left hand side, and that's going to be y 3 minus 3x coming over will become plus 3x, minus 6 coming over will become plus 6, and minus 1 plus 6 will give me plus 5, and that is equal to 0, which is my solution. But if I want to leave it in that other form, that means making y the subject. So I will take minus 1 to this side, and that will give me minus 3x. Minus 6 plus 1 will become minus 5. So that will give me negative 5. So either of the two is actually the equation that is required. And so finally, let's look at the other example. Here we already have the equation written, which I showed you how to generate in the previous video. You can take time to look at it if you have not seen it. All right, and so here we are asked to find the equation of this line that has its y-intercept and x-intercept as minus 1 and 1 over 4 respectively. So what do? From your formula, just substitute. So it means here that our a, which is the x-intercept, is 1 over 4, and our b, which is the y-intercept, is minus 1. So I'm going to substitute 1 over 4 here plus my y all over minus 1 is equal to 1. So what do I do from here? I will try to simplify. Of course, this fraction here will turn over, and so I'm going to have 4 times x, and then minus 1 dividing this will give me minus y equal to 1. I hope you understand how I got this to be this. You can actually look at it here, x divided by 1 over 4. Of course, my division changing to multiplication will become 4 over 1. That's the following fraction will invert. And 4 times x there will give me 4x, which is what we have here. So you can choose to leave your equation like this, or you can write it in a form where y is the subject. That means here I can also have, if y come here and x come over here, I will have positive y is equal to 4x minus y. And in this case, you can actually see that your slope is equal to what? 4. All right. Now we can get our x and y intercept without using that approach where you have to make your y to be 0 and your x to be 0. That is also okay, but we can use this particular formula to get that. What do? Just rewrite your equation to be of this form. to look like this particular equation here, and whatever is the denominator of x is your intercept, and whatever is the denominator of y is your y-intercept. So can we do that? So what we are trying to do is to see if we can write this equation to look like this, where the denominator of x will now be our x-intercept. So, and to do that, our interest is to see that the right hand side is 1. That's the first thing you must ensure. And so how do we do that? For this equation, we are given that 3x plus 4y is equal to 12. So all you need to do to achieve that in this particular equation is to divide through by 12. Divide through by whatever is the constant. And so whatever you have, you will now try to make sure that your x and y are alone in the numerator. So if we do that here, 3 here will cancel, and so we'll get x over 4 plus 4 will cancel here. We will have y over 3 equal to 12 over 12 is 1, and you have achieved it. Therefore, my y-intercept is equal to 3, and my x-intercept, which I called xc, is equal to 4, and you are done. And you can actually check it with the other approach to see if you will get the same thing. Make x 0. Remember, when you make x 0, you will get y-intercept. If we make x 0 here, everything here will turn to 0, so we just have 4y is equal to 12, which will give your y as what? 3. And that's your y-intercept, which is correct. And then otherwise, if you make y to be 0, you will solve for x to get your x-intercept. And if I do that, everything here will turn to 0. So my 3x is equal to 12. Therefore, my x alone is 12 over 3, which is equal to 4. So either ways, you will always get the same solution. So that we are bringing this other approach to ensure that you see that there are many ways you can actually handle this problem. All right, this is where we end it for this video. If this is your first time of coming to my video, or you have come but you've not subscribed, please kindly subscribe. It encourages the growth of our channel and our family. Of course, it is for all of us. And so also give a thumbs up to this video, and also share it to your friends and families. And we'll see you in our next video. Bye.